Right, okay, welcome back to Kinsei-Do Corner. Today is episode 70, and coincidentally, it is the seventh time I've had Ryan on this show. That marks 10% of all episodes with Ryan, the one and only. But
Holy
if you've
moly.
listened to the last six episodes with him, I think you'll agree that it's always worth bringing him back. Always so much to
Thank you.
share and fun stories to tell. And today we're going to do something maybe a bit different, not necessarily as structured, although obviously I know that I always start with a structure in mind and I go off on tangents and we completely lose ourselves. So this may be not as different after all from the other episodes, but today I really want to just have a chat with Ryan, coach to coach, about some things we've been working on and they haven't maybe been as easy or straightforward as we might have hoped, respectively.
Absolutely.
It's not that we're working on the same thing, but just something that we've observed as we've been going through this journey, and so this conversation serves as a kind of a touch base point for us to exchange ideas, but also for you listeners out there to know what we're working on and what's happening in the world of Ryan. So, hello, Ryan. Welcome back.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be back.
Awesome, awesome. Always a good time having you on the show. So, I
Absolutely.
mentioned we've been working on something. Maybe let's just jump right in there. What is it that you have been working on? I'm going to say it's been about 2, maybe 3 months, probably longer in the making, but 2 or 3 months since it's been kind of out there in the public. So, what is
That's
that,
correct.
and what's been going on?
So this is week number 11. So you're bang on. So 10 and a half weeks ago, I launched a subscription based or monthly subscription based programming service via SugarBot. And up until this week, we were offering three separate programs. So we had a complete sort of functional fitness program that catered for beginners all the way to professional competitive athletes. We had a 60-minute or express functional fitness or GPP programming version as well. And then we also had a hybrid style explosive power and absolute strength program as well. But actually, funnily enough, to be honest, I actually closed down my SugarWOD, or rather paused my SugarWOD. SugarWOD actually is the application that I was using um, to harbor the programming and
Hmm.
deliver it to my subscribers. But it was a long time coming, getting ready for this launch, and yeah, the first 10 weeks didn't go quite as planned. So I'm hitting the pause button for now and just trying to regroup and kind of get myself recomposed and ready for a second launch. So for now, we are doing one-on-one online coaching, the old-fashioned way. So that was always another service that I had for since I launched in the 1st of August this year. So we're keeping that on. I've got a couple of clients that are with me at the moment. So we're keeping those guys on, making sure that they're progressing in the meantime while I get ready for my other launch.
Yeah, yeah. I think you touch on a point there about the struggle of kind of getting online coaching. Maybe maybe it wasn't quite as clear for everyone listening. So, online coaching, online strength and conditioning programming specifically is what
Yes,
Ryan's has been offering very successfully, obviously in person, and also
absolutely.
previously in the past. And in fact, you can go back to an episode I think that we did. It's probably already 2 years ago where you took on a couple of clients and got some fantastic results for them.
Absolutely.
And so definitely this isn't a half-baked program. It isn't necessarily that the program or the online coaching experience is not thought through, but nonetheless it's proven somewhat more difficult to launch this time around.
Yeah, it's been a challenge. I think for me personally, I think it was honestly just a reach and engagement issue for the most part. The subscribers that I had who were doing the programming, so the programming was delivered weekly, and it basically was uh, a complete day at a time, every day of the week, except for excluding rest days, of course. So it had all of the warm ups, drills, strength, metabolic conditioning, accessory work, and some prehab rehab stuff as well. But yeah, I think the main issue, and everybody that used the programming seemed to really enjoy it. We had a few little snares with some subscribers, just basically that they're busy professionals and they didn't have the time to kind of adhere to the programming, or we had a little bit of an issue with subscribers also kind of being loyal to their current box or their current affiliate that they're training in, and their head coach's programming, which is completely understandable because functional fitness or CrossFit is a community sport. So I think that also was a really big kind of spanner in the works for me when trying to launch my own programming. For originally my target audience was kind of in my heart was probably intermediate athletes trying to kind of level up their skills and become RX, or people who have an aspiration to compete at any level. So yeah, that was a little bit of a challenge for me. And also I think just online reach and engagement of really getting the program out there was really tough. So it's really interesting, when you're a coach, you can spend so long on your craft and, becoming more and more efficient and productive with programming, and you learn all of these skills about periodization and volume control and capacity of particular athletes, etc. But it's funny because nothing really prepares you for becoming someone who's really good at marketing. So that was really the struggle.
Hmm.
Putting yourself out there and getting your programming out there, despite whether it's good or bad programming, is irrelevant if no one's hearing it. So yeah, that was
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
really 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 tough.
totally, totally. And that's, I mean, it's one of those things that obviously this is why coaches look for business coaches on top of obviously coaches that help them become better at coaching at the actual thing we're selling. But you also need to somehow sell it. You can have the
Yeah,
best program, the
it's
best
really
product, and if no one's buying it.
it's a whole new skill set. I've been online on social media I've been on Instagram for well over a decade.
Hmm.
And I love Instagram. I think it's a great platform for sharing. And I've always shared my fitness journey on there, and I've shared my clients' results on there. Yeah, however, I feel like, especially in the last probably few years, maybe even like the last 12 months to sort of 18 months, social media is changing. And I think that was the hardest part for me to try and get my head around when I was trying to market my product, was that Instagram is not what it was 2 years ago. With the integration of AI, that's something that I definitely would like to talk about today in regards to coaching and programming and also marketing and business coaching. But in regards to AI, I think that a lot of influencers, people who are interested in selling their products, are using AI more and more, and also getting guidance from AI. And when you're mixing that with the the new sort of Gen Z younger crowd that's kind of, you know, sort of flooding into the fitness industry, they really have an acquired taste for specific type of content. And, you know, so when I was getting into trying to market my program, I was trying really hard to learn about hooks and, learning about basically how to keep people watching more than 3 seconds,
Hmm.
which is
Hmm.
actually, way more difficult than it sounds. Because we're in the age now where content is so abundant that people, you only have 3 seconds to catch them, you know. So that in itself is something that was really new to me when I tried to start making content seriously, because before I launched, I was just making my own content for fun, and I didn't really mind who looked at it and who didn't, because I was basically making my content for me and for my family, and for my journey as an athlete, because it's a great way to document. But when you flip it around and you're trying to sell something, it's a whole new playing field.
And you think that that was lesser so 2 years ago, or even a year ago?
Think I think so. Yes, I think so. I mean, I know that attention grabbing and the concept of hooks is no new concept. Um, However, I just feel like I think the further you step backwards in the timeline of social media, the more probably the more authentic content was.
Oh, for sure.
Now I kind of really feel like, when I was trying to market my product, I was going up against, I mean, you'll notice sorry, I'm lost for words, pattern of reels. Say, for example, in fitness, almost always they'll show a climax first, and
Hmm.
that's your hook. And when you're trying to deliver honest and real training tips, and or you're talking about volume in training, or you're talking about programming specifics, it can be really hard to have a climax, if that
Hmm.
makes sense. In a lot of the ways, you're kind of going up against, visual sort of dopamine grabbing, or dopamine sort of like farming, and you're trying to I was trying to break through it. And that was the challenge for me, to kind of really try and create attention grabbing and captivating content, especially in the first 3 to 5 seconds, and kind of keep your authenticity as a
Hmm.
creator and as a coach. I'm not a show pony by nature, really. And, yeah, we do some cool lifts as athletes and things like that, but I'm, you know, I'm not really the type of person uh, to showboat on that. Not for attention anyway, you know? Yeah. So, that for
Yeah.
me was a huge learning curve.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what you mentioned about like social media early on was, it wasn't even called social media, right? It was called social network because it was about
Yeah.
your network. Like on
That makes us
on
sound so old.
on Facebook, I think to this day, I don't have friends that I don't know, right? So technically, if I wanted to limit my content to my network, only people that I know and therefore hopefully that know me would see my stuff. And therefore
Mm,
you would hope that just by this loose connection, they'd already give you more than 3 seconds to see if what you've put out is
true.
interesting. Whereas
True. Yes.
on Instagram, like all these random people, especially if you have, to be honest, I'm sorry, I didn't check how many followers you have. But I know, and I only have a couple of hundred. I know that there are people following me that I don't know. I have no idea who they are.
Absolutely. Of course.
And why would they give me more than 3 seconds if the video isn't
Yeah.
isn't interesting?
It's true. It's true. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I found myself getting into a weird cycle of like, I spent the whole 10 weeks testing basically,
Hmm.
because I thought, okay, so I'm in a new, I'm on a new playing field, trying to market my product, and I know that there's no mercy, I'm not, that's no secret. So I was being objective, and I thought, okay, so what I'll do is I'm just going to post different types of content and see how they perform, and just kind of see what works and see what doesn't, and try and find, navigate my way. And the thing that I found kind of difficult or challenging to really not to comprehend, but to come to terms with, really, was that the less thoughtful content that I was producing, the more eye-catching,
Hmm.
if I take my shirt off, or if I hit a big lift, or if that's the stuff that was getting shared a lot. And if I try and produce educational content, it was just flopping.
Hmm.
So, you know, that that was the beginning of me in coming to that realization, was the beginning of me realizing that, okay, I think I may be going about this the wrong way.
Hmm.
Because at the end of the day, business is business, and we're trying to, obviously we're trying to problem solve, but at the end, we want our business to be successful, of course. And so I realized that I have some studying, and I have some learning to do about marketing, really, and about, you know, especially what type of products and services that I want to sell in the future, and how I'm going to market them, which is something that I'd be happy to talk about today also. So I
Yeah.
actually just kind of finalized my loose business plan, or my loose concept of what I'll be launching in the upcoming weeks today.
Okay. And
Yeah.
without sharing too much, will it be vastly different from what you've produced or what
Yes.
you've sold before? Because,
Yeah. Yes.
sorry, because I
Yeah.
was going to say, obviously, I was one of, I don't know how many subscribers that you had there. And you mentioned as well, people, me included, people generally liked the product, right? So it isn't, I'm from looking from where I stand now, I wouldn't say you need to vastly change the product in order to be more successful. You probably need to just get more people to test it or to buy it, so to say. So it's interesting for me to hear that you're saying you're going to change the product.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be perfectly transparent. I myself am going through a little bit of a identity transition as an athlete too. So, because I mean, I'm a coach and I'm a husband, I'm a father first, but I am also an athlete on the journey, and my training is changing. And I'm at this point, I would think probably semi-retired from CrossFit competition. So, that in itself is going to bring change. And I like to, stay close knit and with the products and the services that I'm delivering.
Hmm.
So as I change and my training journey changes or my journey changes as an athlete, I'm just kind of really thinking about, okay, long term, is CrossFit or functional fitness programming what I really want to be, writing and delivering and selling if I'm off doing something completely different, you know?
Hmm.
So yeah, for me, the one-on-one coaching will stay, of course, because I really enjoy that. I love working with athletes and even just everyday people who have fitness goals. I really enjoy that. And I don't have any particular market, of masters or anything like that. I'm happy to work with anybody. And I have a pretty big background in one-on-one coaching, especially for body transformation, or body composition. So, I mean, I was a bodybuilder for a long time before I was a CrossFit competitor.
Hmm. Hmm.
And when I was online coaching, I was always in the body composition game. So that's kind of where my specialty actually lies. I just happen to enjoy competing in CrossFit and I enjoy the programming and I trust the methodology. So I think, that's a great thing to share with people. And I'll always integrate that to my programming, especially for my one-on-one clients because, metabolic conditioning works.
Hmm.
But, yeah, for myself moving forward, I'm really just considering about utilizing my skills to deliver oh, all good,
Hmm.
that can solve niche issues in the fitness industry for people or in fitness and health and fitness for people. So, for example, people who are interested in trying to gain their first bar muscle up or, people who are trying to learn to handstand walk, people who are struggling with their front rack mobility or their overhead mobility for the snatch or something like that. So that's kind of what I'm looking at
Ah.
now is building kind of complete and robust programs surrounding these issues and then marketing them to the fitness space basically as problem solvers, and that's
Okay.
those are things that I in particular really struggled with as well, coming from a different fitness background into CrossFit and weightlifting. I really struggled with mobility and I struggled with technique and I struggled with, just fundamentally understanding the mechanics of movements. And I think that if I had had uh, a resource to learn more about those issues faster, I could have probably saved myself a lot of time. So I'd like to do that for other people. I think that would be a really good way to utilize my skills to help
Oh
the,
yeah, okay. Yeah,
you know,
that's very interesting. And I mean, obviously there are offerings like that out there. I mean, in fact, I was just the other day, just maybe 1 or 2 days ago, I was listening to a podcast done by the guys in the Coastal Fitness in Hong Kong, process programming, and they had the guy Ben from WhatPrep, and WhatPrep has been out there, and I'm sure you've used WhatPrep's videos, or you've at
yeah,
least seen
everyone
them.
knows Ben.
Exactly, everyone knows
Everyone
Ben
knows
and
his voice.
his wigs and all the funky stuff that he
Yeah,
does,
he's a
but
funny guy.
he actually does like good content, and he was talking about how the free videos, that basically the thing that you see on Instagram or on YouTube or whatever, those only bring the people to the site, right, where they then hopefully purchase these courses about bar muscle up and all these things.
Absolutely.
So yeah, so that's there's definitely a market there, and obviously you've demonstrated in your own journey coming from the background where you didn't have these skills, and then I guess, would you say you self-taught yourself these skills, or you
Well,
used?
that's actually, yeah. So that's going to be the niche for me because I didn't go to CrossFit classes. I didn't get taught by CrossFit coaches. I was self-taught. So
Hmm.
I find myself even when I'm coaching classes, people will come up to me and be like, "Wow, I've never heard someone explain it that way."
Hmm.
Or, "Oh, I really like that cue. I've never heard that before." And it's because it's a cue that I gave myself,
Hmm.
So I hope that I can bring something a little bit different in my products,
Yeah.
and people seem to, one of the main compliments that I get when I coach is that people like the way that I describe mechanics. It seems to be more understandable than, maybe other coaches that they've worked with. So
Mm,
hopefully I can use that to my advantage, or rather to their
perfect.
advantage. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. I mean, I'll definitely be looking out for those courses then, because again, I've
Awesome.
been unsuccessful in many attempts to learn many of these advanced movements. And yeah, well, to be fair, I haven't put in probably the work that is needed, but I've also not had the guidance there. So, I mean, you mentioned obviously shifting your coaching, your online coaching away from possibly a little bit away from the CrossFit style because that's no longer your own athletic journey as well. But
Yes.
from the story you just told, I hear you like your in-person coaching will still very much be a CrossFit gym essentially. I mean, I know you're not an affiliate, but a CrossFit
Yeah.
gym-ish.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I
Yeah.
mean, CrossFit methodology it's still, in my opinion, it's the best fitness methodology on the planet. It's just awesome and it works. And I've seen it work for so many people. So absolutely. I mean, functional fitness methodology will always be an integration of my coaching and my training and my programming. So that's not going anywhere. But I think, yeah, absolutely. Generally, if someone signs on for one-on-one coaching with me, I'll program for them according to their goals. So,
Hmm.
if their goals are just weight loss, then absolutely we can utilize metabolic conditioning really effectively. And, it can be in, basically infinitely scaled. So, you can really work with anybody, which is just fantastic. So that's just, I think, a really good resource tool for me when programming for one-on-one clients. I'll still use the functional fitness methodology, absolutely, in conjunction with absolute strength or whatever else that they.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And actually, I mean, this is a bit of a segue, but obviously, you are successful working with one-on-one clients. You're still in demand for one-on-one coaching.
Absolutely, yeah.
Why do you focus at all on creating programs or creating products that are not meant for a one-on-one interaction, but that are kind of like a mass market product, so to say?
Yeah.
Why is that important to you? Because I'm assuming with a handful of one-on-one clients, you could probably be better off financially than trying to than all the background or and all the overhead that comes with trying to market a mass market product. It's not just creating the programming and then here you go, because as you
Yeah.
we find out
Yeah. No.
no one's seeing it or no one's biting. So sorry, not no one, but not enough people are biting. So in that sense, why not go all in on the one-on-one track?
So that's a great question. I have gone all in on one-on-one before, and I've kind of found that no matter how good your systems are, it's still time consuming. And if it's time consuming, and I mean, sure, it's not time consuming for other coaches, but it is for me because I really do care about the client and their results. And when someone signs on with me, I want them to, the quality control for online coaching is so important.
Hmm. Of
It's the
everything, but
first,
yes,
it's
online
everything.
coaching as
That's
well.
right. And your relationship with your online coach is everything when you're a client. So to deliver that level of quality, because I really am so serious about trying to deliver just exceptional service. I mean, a lot of people won't know this about me. I was in many sort of high level customer service roles for a long time, alongside being involved in fitness and sales roles as well. And service for me is just so important. Even when I go to restaurants or whatever, I'm often quite critical because you know service is
Hmm.
number one. Especially if you're a brick and mortar. But online, all you have is your service. Really.
Hmm.
I mean, you have the customer experience, and that's what's going to keep them around. It's not. Uh, you can give them the best program in the world, but um, it's the relationship, it's the accountability that they have, it's the encouragement, it's the support, it's the Q&A. It's so it is time consuming, and I find myself unable to let go of really. emphasizing that quality. And if that is the case for me, I'm always going to have a ceiling for income.
Hmm.
So, I found that I probably can't really handle more than probably 10. I've done 15 before
Hmm.
online, and I was just always on my phone.
Hmm.
So it kind of really ended up defeating the purpose of, online work because I was
Yes.
always working, and
Yeah.
it was really, taking away from the quality time that I had with my son and at home. So I don't want to do that again. And I've tried to improve my systems to limit that as much as possible. I only answer clients during business hours now. But yeah, I think that in terms of income, there's always going to be a ceiling. So for digital products, I just see it as a way that I can serve more people as long as I believe in my products and I'm not just, because I think a lot of people are trying to cut corners and use AI to sell basically AI generated just
Hmm.
garbage.
Hmm.
And that's not what I want to do. I write all of my programs, so they're all organic and I won't release them until I would buy them.
Hmm.
So they'll be at a pretty generous price. They'll be robust and they'll be elaborate. And that way I truly feel like I can serve a larger crowd. And of course it's, infinitely scalable.
Hmm.
So that's kind of my idea around that. So I will keep one-on-one because I really enjoy coaching and I love working with people one-on-one, but for extra income and scalable, business or revenue opportunity, the digital products, I think, is worth trying anyway. Who knows if it will be successful or not? We'll see, but definitely better to try. And I've got an idea of how I'm going to funnel my income revenue back into my marketing so that I can reach larger audiences and things like that. So hopefully,
Yeah. Yeah. No,
yeah,
that
we have
that
some success there.
that sounds that sounds sensible, and definitely what you said about the one-on-one coaching is exactly. It's kind of one of the first things that I also learned when I first picked up a book about the business of online coaching is that online isn't is in no way it means you now have to work less or you can work
Absolutely.
you can work all the hours that you want. You are still as much, not to say a slave, but you're still as much tied to the client as before
Absolutely.
if you want to serve them right. And
Hmm.
just because
Possibly even
you
more
don't
so
have
than on the gym floor.
possibly, yeah. But yeah, so it doesn't mean working less. It might even mean working a lot more if you don't do it smarter. Yeah,
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, hopefully just kind of trying to relieve myself a little bit, I suppose.
yeah.
And I've got a lot of experience in fitness and you know, I do really have an innate kind of drive to help people who are struggling, So if I can do that on a larger scale, then that's just awesome.
Yeah. And obviously, you still also have the physical location, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Which
We have
is
the gym as well.
going well. I mean, you mentioned you had a big event the other week.
Yeah. We had a hybrid fitness race, which was 3.5 Ks of running total and a bunch of different stations in between. So that was super fun. It was super successful. We ran back-to-back heats every 30 minutes for about 10 hours and we didn't miss a single heat. Like we ran on the minute. So we were really happy
Nice,
with that. And
nice.
everyone was really, really happy with how smooth it went. So it's great.
That's brilliant. But that means you had, well, 10 hours, so about 20 heats of how many people in a heat?
Yeah, we had I believe it was so we had three teams. It was a duo competition, so male doubles and female
Hmm.
doubles, and we had three teams every heat. In the back enders of the heats, we had two and two, but yeah, three teams for most of the heats, and I think in the end we had about 16 or 18 heats back to back.
Brilliant,
We had a little bit of
brilliant.
a lunch break in the day, 30 minutes, but that's it.
That's, yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. I recently did a Hyrox kind of simulation as well, and it yeah it's a massive. I mean, I was only a participant, but I could see it's a massive logistical thing trying
Yeah,
to manage an event like that in what is normally a gym space, right? Where you're where you're not supposed to be having that many
yeah,
people doing the ski, that many people trying to do sled pushes and
Absolutely.
burpees and all of that. So logistically,
And
it's
then
a mega
managing,
challenge.
absolutely, you're right. Managing crowd space and spectator space as well was we had to move a lot of equipment out, basically just clear a whole level of our gym because you know Hyrox or hybrid racing it's space consuming, especially for sleds and burpee broad jumps and like you need to have at least two 10-meter tracks available. So yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot, but it was super fun, and we definitely would do it again. It was just such a great event, and it was nice to have everybody just do one event and be done,
Hmm.
rather than having to set the floor like a CrossFit competition where you
Yeah,
have to reset the floor and you know do basically a different format 3 times a day. You know, for multiple
yeah,
heats, it's a
for
lot more of a
sure.
headache. So it was great, and I think that actually I was saying this to my wife. I think that the amount of coaching hours that we have. I think now I've probably got maybe around 3,000 um, floor hours for classes. Yeah, so like that skill really
Hmm.
came in handy. Just for time management
Hmm.
and heat management. And we deal with in the gym. I mean, we have a limited number of cardio machines, and we have an uneven number of air bikes to rowers to skis. So quite often logistics is basically the name of the
Hmm.
game for the sake of the class running on time. So for us, we found that was really helpful. Just having that skill set of being able to think on the fly and just you know figure out how long people will take and where to put them so that they don't run over time and there's no traffic jams with equipment, etc.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's a major. It's a major bummer if you're in an event and you're doing well, and then you get to a station and basically you have to
And there's
wait.
someone,
You have to wait for
and
it
it's weird.
to be.
Hyrox runs like a river, Like
Hmm.
CrossFit is just heats, and okay, you're time capped, you're capped, and that's it. We move on. But Hyrox runs like a river, and you have to make sure that, I mean, if you don't have enough equipment, if there can't be traffic jams,
Hmm.
because that's disastrous for people's results and for the judges and the committee that has to deal with them.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Having run a few events as well back in the day, I like complaints and people arguing with judges.
Yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely. We made it clear in the athlete briefing in the morning that the judges basically their words of the gospel
Hmm.
for the days. And we had a good judging team. We had about 15 or 16 judges, and they did a great job. And they come to our functional classes and our hybrid classes as well. So they kind of you know
Yeah.
they were good,
Yeah. Yeah.
great.
Yeah. It wasn't a competition anyway, right? It wasn't. It wasn't. There was nothing on the line if you, let's say, had to wait a minute, or was it a competition event?
Oh no, we did cash prizes and everything, man.
Oh,
Absolutely,
nice.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
so we had cash prizes for yeah no we had a lot actually. I think about sorry I don't quote me on this. I think we had about 17 million in total prizes.
sweet. Okay, yeah, it's a
Yeah. So
big
everyone got
enough
cash who
incentive
got
for
the
sure.
podium.
Yeah,
Yeah, we got they got yeah a bunch of stuff, clothing and all sorts of products and stuff like that as well. So, yeah, protein as well. We're giving away protein to the podium, and we had free beer courtesy of we got sponsored by a beer company, so we had free beer for the crowd, and yeah, it was great.
nice.
Man, the crowd was happy, that's for sure. I've never seen a crowd that happy before.
Excellent. Yeah, 10 hours of free beer. That'll do that for you. Um, awesome. And like, since obviously we're talking about business stuff, did it do anything for your business? Did you gain new members through it? Did you get more awareness in the
I think
community?
we definitely gained notoriety, that's for sure. And, I think where we are in Indonesia, it's, we're a little bit, I think a lot of people know who we are because we have a relatively strong competition presence. But
Hmm.
I think a lot of people we're easy to forget. We're in the mountains, and if you want to get to us, you kind of have to drive. It's a relatively long drive. So we don't get a tremendous, you know, amount of visitors. But
Hmm.
yeah, I think that kind of really put us on the map. It was our first event in a long time, and the gym made a good amount of revenue. Business wise, it was a great move, and I think it's something that we'll definitely continue to do at least twice a year. You know. whether it be
Lovely.
in different sports, CrossFit, or whether it's, Hyrox or whatever we end up doing. So
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, actually, obviously, you have the kind of the finger on the pulse, so to say. How do you see in your area or in your region, perhaps? How do you see the whole Hyrox thing? Because obviously in Jakarta, it feels like every gym is now either jumping onto it
it's
or it's
crazy.
going to get lost.
It's just
If you're not a Hyrox gym, if you're not training hybrid athletes, then well, you might as well close your doors. Um,
it's so ridiculously popular. It's crazy. And I mean, it's just it's funny. Like we could really, I mean, coach to coach, and this is great for people to listen to because I think they probably wouldn't have this insight otherwise. Seeing the competitors over the weekend was really interesting because it was, I mean, in CrossFit, to compete in CrossFit, I mean, you have a scaled and an RX division, maybe you'll have an intermediate division, but you need to have a certain level of strength and skill in
hmm,
order to really probably just have the confidence to compete.
hmm,
And, there's specific movement standards that we abide by, as you know, and et cetera, et cetera. But Hyrox or hybrid racing, really, there's the barrier to entry is so low, which is great because,
hmm.
the more the merrier, really. And people getting involved in fitness and wanting to, join the community events and have a crack at it is just, it's what it's all about. But at the same time, it was definitely, for me as a coach anyway, really obvious that a lot of athletes were very new
Hmm.
to fitness, functional fitness in any form, and also very maybe unaware of their limits and perhaps, really overestimating their fitness
Hmm.
in terms of pacing, you know,
Hmm.
and really kind of knowing that, you should start slow and finish strong. And the type of things that only can come really with experience,
Hmm.
if you've done like a lot of CrossFit in the past or whatever. So we had a few people who kind of conked out on us. Um, just for the
Okay.
fact that, that I think they went out really hot and just kind of zonked. But it was really good to see. The thing is, the CrossFit or the functional fitness community was never really huge where we are in East Java, but almost everybody was a new face. So,
Brilliant.
I mean,
Very
I
nice.
can't, you can't help but give credit to Hyrox for
Hmm.
bringing just a much larger percentage of the population into functional fitness. There's no denying that it's just awesome for people. And people don't have to be afraid of it. Um, it's not as intimidating as CrossFit may be for others. So yeah, I thought that Hyrox was a fad. It looks like it's not going anywhere. So, you know, but this is the industry, man. You gotta flow with the river.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I've when I first heard about it, which is by now already 3 or 4 years ago, and again, it was Hunter McIntyre talking about this new thing that he does, and everyone's like, okay, whatever. And then
Whatever, bro.
it really sounded like a a watered, not to say watered down, but it sounded like one CrossFit workout. So rather than do
Yeah, like a
CrossFit,
hero
I'm going to
workout.
focus on
Yeah.
doing one CrossFit workout for the rest of
Yeah.
my training now. But I mean, and again, we talked about marketing at the beginning of this chat, and clearly we know nothing about marketing because they are doing everything right?
Man. And
Everything
just,
you could probably want to do, they are doing it, and they're hitting
they've done
the head.
such an incredible job, honestly. And their events look phenomenal. And yeah, I mean, it's funny. I mean, I spent the first 6 months just trying to figure out what Hyrox was
Hmm.
because for a while there, it was hard to actually figure out what exactly it was until, I went on the website and kind of read through it all and oh, okay, so this is what it is. And then I thought, well, that's a bit, you know, in the beginning, I was like, well, that's it, you know,
Yeah,
but man, it just, I mean,
yeah.
it's just so smart, the way that they run their events, the way that they can run just pretty much just constant heats and, it doesn't have any particular, I mean, I'm sure it has limits, but it doesn't, not like CrossFit, you know,
Hmm.
for in terms of resources,
Yeah,
it's
yeah, and
just
I
a
mean
great business model,
I mean again I haven't actually been to one. So there's reasons for that, but I've trained with people who've been to several, and even in the beginning, I always thought, okay, if even if this is fun, you're gonna do one, and then you've done it, right? Because the next one's gonna be
Mm.
the same.
Yeah.
But it seems that the exact opposite happens. Once you do one, you're already looking for the next one, right? And
They want more. Absolutely. And it's just so funny because, I think at least here, it's quite like an affluent sport.
hmm,
I think CrossFit has always been an affluent sport because
hmm,
affiliate, membership fees are quite high.
hmm, hmm.
So it's arguable that CrossFit also is an affluent sport, but this is like an affluent sport. People like really travel
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
worldwide
yeah, yeah.
to
The
do
the gym
this.
membership is
It's
probably the same as a CrossFit, right? I mean, you go to a functional
it
fitness
must be.
gym
It must be.
that is a Hyrox gym,
Yeah.
and then you spend,
Yeah.
well, if you're doing it right, you're spending a lot of time doing your running on your own, and then you go to the gym and you do the training for the stations essentially.
Yeah, the stations and the strength and etc.
But the travel to go to these events is, yeah,
Like
it's
the
surprising
flights,
how
the
people afford this.
accommodation, and it is really amazing. It's really quite an affluent sport, and I think that that's also from a business perspective quite genius because, I mean, you got a whole bunch of people who have disposable income who have
Hmm.
and then you've got a really low barrier to entry, and
Hmm.
it's a huge community feel. It just ticks all the boxes, you know. Even though I'm probably never going to do one, but it does tick all the boxes.
You say that now. Let's see.
Oh dear, man. Yeah, it's the shoes, man. The shoes for me. I just can't. I just can't.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
it's
I'll stick to my Le Jajuns for now.
it's an interesting thing, and I mean, yeah, you'll see. Like I was again on another podcast, I heard someone who works for Puma, and obviously Puma has been a Hyrox sponsor slash partner
Yeah,
since the
they're
beginning.
the shoe of Hyrox, aren't they?
Yeah,
Among
yeah,
other
but not
things.
just the shoe, the entire apparel apparently, right? So they estimate that it'll surpass marathons in terms of global participation in the next 2 to 3
Is
years,
that right?
and that
I
is
wouldn't be
insane.
surprised too. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
I'm just sending
But
you
that is
a.
insane because the number of people that run marathons seems to be really, really high as well.
It is, yeah.
So yeah,
If they're getting that many, that's insane, honestly.
that's,
But I
that's
suppose it's
pretty good.
funny, you can transition from so many different sports to
Hmm.
Hyrox. I mean, you can be a marathon runner and go do Hyrox.
Yeah, yeah, and do pretty
Competitively,
well if you
but
get a bit stronger.
yeah,
Yeah.
and do well, but you can't really do, you know, uh, I mean, I suppose you can do the opposite, but it's probably a lot harder.
Mm, 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 mm. Yeah, yeah,
I'd say a Hyrox is easier than a marathon in
yeah.
terms
For
of
for
volume,
people like you and
anyway.
me that are not maybe born runners, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no, no, I'm born close to the ground, man. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, so I'll stick in. I'm transitioning over to weightlifting relatively seriously now, anyway. So that's
Yeah,
which
yeah.
I
I
probably should
mean,
have mentioned before. So yeah, I think
I
my
would
next
imagine you do
competitive
that
journey will
well.
be,
Yeah,
yeah, I like a barbell. You know,
yeah.
that'll be my next competitive thing anyway. I think be
Nice,
weightlifting.
nice, nice, nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Right. Right. I mean, okay, as I kind of alluded to or promised in the beginning, we've gone all over the place.
yeah.
Maybe didn't touch on anything that that we said we
I'm so
would.
sorry.
No, we probably did. We probably did. But it's been a great chat as always.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where you go with your
Thank
maybe
you.
there'll be an evolution where you do Hyrox specific products. Who knows if
Actually,
the
funnily
market
enough,
calls for it.
I'm working with a guy at the moment. One of my athletes is on my roster, so I have a bunch of different athletes that I work with and I program for. So I've got my stepdaughter Sophie, I've got my wife. They're actually prepping for a Hyrox at the moment, funnily enough.
Hmm.
And I'm doing their programming. I also have a guy who is from Zumba. He's one of the coaches at the gym, and I have a suspicion that he may be the next national champion of Indonesia at Hyrox. He's just unbelievably gifted, and I'm doing his programming too. So we're just waiting for the next race to send him to and see how he does. So a bit of
Sweet.
inside
Okay.
info. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I actually am doing a lot of Hyrox programming
So yeah. So
against my
you'll have to
will,
get
but
into you'll have to get into running then. Yeah. Yeah. That's right.
yeah, no, I'll watch them run. That's all right. I'll tell them where to run. Yeah. So that'll be great. So we'll see how we go. But yeah, no, definitely excited to see what our athletes can do here.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I mean, I'm still obviously hoping that there'll be a Hyrox event here. I mean, we spoke about the cost, and obviously
That's right.
bringing having one in Indonesia would help with that. But I also assume it would be sold out in 2 hours after opening, so
Yeah, true.
that'll be
True.
difficult
I
to
think
do as well.
Perth, they had one in Perth recently, and it was the biggest fitness event in history, if I'm not mistaken.
As in for Perth or for
No, I mean worldwide in history, something like that, or
what?
the biggest collection of competitive athletes at one event or something. They broke some world record. Yeah,
That's insane.
so
That's insane.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
happening.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, whenever they open sign up, it sells out immediately, right? It's crazy.
Crazy,
I
unbelievable.
think I saw on the Instagram today they opened up Taiwan, so the race will be in uh, February, and I'm sure it's already so it's close
In
to selling out.
February, my gosh, wow.
It's crazy. All right. Anyway, conscious of time and also yeah, we've covered a lot and gone all over the place. So it's been a fun chat.
It's been a
Really
pleasure,
looking
man.
forward
Yeah,
to seeing your program and your products and see what you come out with there.
great.
And
Yeah,
yeah, and
I'm
wish
looking
you
forward
all the
to
best. All
looking
the
forward to the
best
launch.
for the next launch and the next venture.
Thanks, coach.
Cheers, Ryan.
All right, thanks, mate.